This video is sponsored by Grammarly. Temporal landmarks are those points in time, like the start of the month, that you're more likely to take action and make changes in your life. When you hit a temporal landmark, your motivation is high, and of course it fades out. But if you take advantage of that high when it comes, you can make these small changes that keep on making you happy as time goes on. But to make temporal landmarks useful, you need to be intentional. And one way that you can start doing that is to put in place mini reset rituals, like a monthly reset. In this video, I am going to show you my monthly reset to inspire you to create your own temporal landmark rituals in your life. I started out my process of resetting with my space. I did a quick tidy of the house. I picked up all of the clothes on the floor. I cleared off the dishes on the kitchen bench. I was cheering because this is the third time we'd run this dishwasher load, hence the dishes, and it worked this time. And I hung up all of the clothes that have been sitting in a clothes basket for a few days. A space in our home that I've wanted to make more homey for so long is our entryway. I started out in the afternoon grabbing some curtain rods from the hardware store, and I put up these creamy beige linen look curtains. What Luke and I both said was that it kind of looks like painter's curtains when it's open all the way, but when it's just a little bit, it doesn't look too bad at all. Like walking in, this is kind of what you'd see. I also wanted a mirror in the hallway, so I used this rounded IKEA mirror. The last step was putting the calendar back up on the wall and creating a fresh monthly page. So this is our entryway set up now. I've cleared off some of the bags on here and cleaned it up a little bit. And we've got our mirror, which I just think, oh my gosh, I've got the hiccups, will be so good for just like that last minute check when you walk out the door. And then we've got calendar here. Then I moved into getting organized, starting with a weekly reset. I usually do a lot less reflection in a weekly reset. It's more about getting organized and having a plan. My weekly reset always kicks off with answering my emails because a clear email inbox makes me feel sane. While I answered my emails, I used Grammarly, a digital writing assistant, to help. Grammarly has a free version with basic grammar and spelling suggestions, but upgrading gives you more in-depth feedback on your writing. To get Grammarly, you can easily download it as a browser extension. Grammarly has the free version with basic grammar and spelling suggestions, but upgrading to premium gives you much more in-depth writing feedback. I recently sent an email providing someone some feedback, which can sometimes feel daunting. You're never quite sure what to write. You want to sound friendly, but using the suggestions from Grammarly, I was able to make sure using the tone detector that I sounded appreciative, confident, and friendly, which means a lot to me. I was also able to reduce the wordiness of my email so that it was more precise and easier for someone to take action on, because with feedback, you want it to be clear and easy to understand. Grammarly also helps you to expand your vocabulary, and it replaces boring or bland words with more effective and memorable ones. And alongside that, it provides you with clarity suggestions that cut down on unnecessary words to help you to meet the word count in your essays and your reports. Your communication becomes more efficient and concise. Go to grammarly.com/michelleb to sign up for a free account and get 20% off Grammarly Premium today. I've been needing a day like this for so long, just doing a full-on reset of my life with all these things that I've predetermined will help me to feel refreshed and reset. Like, I know that these things are going to make me feel clarified and together, and I just feel like I haven't been putting enough attention into that lately. I've been spending so much time on the doing. I still am someone who dives too deeply into just getting things done, and I don't do enough thinking. I'm convinced of it. I think thinking is something I need to spend a lot more time on. It's something I want to dedicate a lot more time to in this year. Thinking, strategizing, planning, journaling, meditating, just really thinking deeply about what I'm doing and being intentional. I also ticked off a few to-dos in my weekly reset, like booking in my eyebrow appointments and my laser hair removal, and they were much needed. I usually try to book my appointments at my appointments. That way I don't even have to think about it, but for some reason I didn't with these ones, and my eyebrows were feeling it. And now I'm going to do a big old brain dump, which feels wildly necessary right now. I feel like there is so much on my mind, so much taking up my brain space. So much of the stuff that I brain dump out is always so small. It'll be these minor, minuscule things, but regardless, just having them out feels so much better. Because otherwise I keep on reminding myself like, oh, you need to label those boxes that are in the bedroom. But like over and over again, which is such a useless thing to be constantly reminding myself of. 57 to-dos later, and we are done with brain dumping. Then my sister and I did our weekly life map date. I think me and my sister have done this ritual for over 2 years now. We sit down, we talk about our weeks, and we read through the questions in our planners together. What I found with this ritual is that it encourages an experimenter's mindset with your goals, which is something that I am a huge proponent of. If something is not working in your goals, in the habits that you're trying to build, it just means that you need to try a different approach, do something a little differently. And if something isn't working for either of us, we get to talk about what's going on and we can bounce off each other for ideas and for motivation. Even the practice of just revisiting your goals every week, it's such a small thing, but it's also huge. Following that up with writing a weekly plan for the next week in our planners, it makes it even more impactful. I follow that up by doing a monthly reflection. I like to write down my wins for the month. This is such a nice thing to reflect on because sometimes a month goes by and you're like, what did I do? But when you write down your wins, you start to realize like, oh, I've made so much progress and I'm not giving myself enough credit because that's what most of us default to. On my wins list, I have redesigning my bedroom, which is a video that's coming really soon. I also like to reflect on my favorite moments of the month, which is such a nice feeling. I'm big on creating memorable moments. One of my memorable moments from the month of February was watching Pride and Prejudice with Luke on Valentine's Day. I also like to plan in events to make my next month amazing. By nature, I am someone who likes to cozy up, read books, stay inside, which is so lovely. But I also know I'm happiest when I've squeezed in a handful of sunsets, a cute date night, and maybe a beach day into my month. So I make it a point to plan in the fun things. Otherwise, they just don't happen. I planned in a really long walk on the coastline, a beach day with my partner, a dinner, a sunset, and a night baking apple pie, and I'm already really excited for my month. That's the wonderful thing about doing a monthly reset. You can get excited about the plans and you know your month is going to be great because you've made it great intentionally. Part of this is also looking at your plans that you might have made at the start of the year or the start of the quarter. This is something that I love. I also think it's really important because you get reminded of all of these intentions that you had for yourself and you can get re-inspired, or you can go, hey, like I had all these plans for myself, but this has come up and I'm not able to do them. What am I going to do instead? Any kind of reflective process that you can push yourself to do even when you don't feel like it is always so revealing. Like I'm doing this and I'm feeling already lighter because I'm like, okay, this is what I want to stop doing. This is what I want to start doing. I need to get more intentional with that. And it's just like giving yourself the time and space to think about these things is so bloody important. After that, I got into my comfy clothes. I had a mango. I realized the other day we hadn't had mangoes all summer. I felt really sad that I missed out on so many mangoes. Luke picked up some from the grocery store and it was delicious. To finish up my day, I wanted to get inspired. I've been in this season of overwhelm and a bit of confusion lately. So I started reading a book that was relevant to what I'm going through, which is Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. This is a great book because it's pretty immediately applicable to my life. Getting help with all of the amazing things that I've taken on in my work as well as in my life is what this book is all about. I felt like this book was calling to me and I'm already feeling really inspired by it. It is more of a business book, which is what I needed guidance on right now. I am loving using my iPad to read these kind of books because I can have my book on one side, my Kindle on the other if I want to take notes. I love taking notes on my books. Personally, I like to write down ideas that I have while I'm reading the book. I like to write down my own interpretations of what I'm reading. I also really like to write down action points because as I go through this kind of book at least, I'm always thinking of things that I need to do after I've gotten inspired from my reading. I also recently had a life admin day where I ticked off a whole bunch of to-dos that I had on my mind. If you like watching videos that motivate you to get things done, you can watch that one. It's going to be linked on the screen in a playlist of all of my life admin videos. This video was very focused on reflection, but I think it's a good kind of ritual to accompany with a day of action like a life admin day. I appreciate you all so very much and I will see you soon.